Carolina in white, and the Cougars of Washington State in the dark maroon. And of course, this crowd, only 2 hours drive from Chapel Hill, will be highly partisan. Carolina blue. You can see him standing now. The winner to the Elite Eight. The tip goes to Carolina, and Ginyard can't hit, but Hansbrough is tied up, and that's going to be called a held ball. Arrow to Washington State. Hansbrough, who has a habit for Carolina of scoring their first basket, it looked as if he was going to pull that one off on the rebound.
Well, typical of Tyler Hansbrough, right there for that offensive rebound. And Dick Enberg, this is where Washington State has to look to slow the game. If they get something early, take it. If not, they have to run offense. Great drive by Kyle Weaver.
Aaron Baines, the big Australian, with the first basket of the game. Set up by Weaver's pass. At the other end, Deion Thompson short. Baines, the Australian, with a rebound.
If nothing is there early for Washington State, they want to try to run the clock. Their offense has got to help their defense. They cannot afford to turn it over.
This is low from Honolulu, and rims out, and Hansbrough sends Carolina the other way. The speedy Lawson, recovering from that ankle injury that sidelined him 6 games in the middle of the season, ties it up at 2.
That's the difference with a healthy Ty Lawson in the lineup for North Carolina. Their break is now shot out of a cannon, the fastest end-to-end of any point guard in America.
Rochester sets up Weaver, turns down the 3. And now over Ginyard, way off the mark, over the top. And there's going to be the first foul. Whistle again, so Robbie Cowgill of Washington State.
Washington State coming out firing early. That was not a good shot by Kyle Weaver. If it's not there early, they've got to run offense and run clock.
Kyle Gill, the 22-year-old senior from Austin, Texas. Academic star as well. 3.36 in business operations. He was the Pac-10 Scholar Athlete of the Year.
Interesting matchups right now for Washington State. Rochester guarding Wayne Ellington. That's a tough matchup for him.
Little out of his range, Hansbrough, and Weaver has it knocked out of bounds. Tar Heel fans thought that Weaver touched it last. It's a remarkable team. Tony Bennett and his father, Dick Bennett, recruited this group of seniors to Pullman, Washington, the eastern border, right on the Idaho borderline. And now his son Tony has done a sensational job. Was the National Coach of the Year in his first season with 26 wins a year ago. Cowgill can't hit the 3. Ellington with a rebound.
And it's not there in the primary break. North Carolina goes right into their secondary break.
Hansbrough working the baseline, has it knocked away by Baines. And it's Washington State, and they are one of the best in the country in forcing turnovers.
Robbie Cowgill came with a post-to-post double. Hansbrough turned away from it, but couldn't get to the rim against the bigger Baines.
Tony Bennett in his second year, he's matched last year's record of 26-8. Was star at Wisconsin, Green Bay, and he's returning to Charlotte. He played 3 years of professional ball here in this city, where he met his wife, in fact. Ellington, Ginyard, Lawson. Lawson for 3. Won't fall, but Hansbrough with a second chance. Can't hit. The tip is not there. Carolina keeps it alive, and Deion Thompson with the basket.
A lot of standing and watching by Washington State. Aaron Baines did a good job defensively, trying to make Tyler Hansbrough shoot over the top. If you make him take tough shots, you've got a chance. If you foul him, it's going to be 2 points.
Very low inside to Baines, working on Hansbrough, knocked away by Ginyard. Out of bounds to Washington State.
You can see Baines going after it, but he's really the only Washington State player, and he didn't have inside position. Otherwise, it was 4 white shirts going after the offensive glass for North Carolina. That's just too easy.
Inbound to Cowgill. Rochester, who shoots over 50% on the road, only about 42% at home. Cowgill left free, ties it at 4.
Nice little pick and pop off the out-of-bounds play run by Washington State. Everybody trying to stick with Derek Lowe, a terrific catch-and-shoot player.
Saw how quickly Washington State back on defense, trying to defuse that fast break of Carolina, but they can't stop Deion Thompson, he has 4 early points.
They played great against Arkansas. 16 points, went 8 of 8 from the field against a very big front line, just making quicker and more confident moves.
Lawson out on Rochester. They'll be patient on offense, down to 13 on the shot clock. Derek Lowe, under 10.
Lowe going to take it on his own.
Into the lane with a fall away, and it won't go. Thompson for Carolina. Lawson streaking into the offensive end. And that'll be a foul before the shot. Derek Lowe trying to stop Lawson. His first foul. 4 minutes into the game. Carolina by 2. Back in Charlotte 2 weeks from today, opening round at Augusta National, and you can watch exclusive video of Amen Corner Live, plus the 15th and 16th holes, and bonus coverage of the entire field with Masters Extra at cbssports.com/masterslive and masters.org.
Washington State does such a great job with their defense. They play a packed defense. They try to stay inside that 3-point line. 10 eyes on the ball. Everybody helping on dribble penetration.
Ellington fouled as he delivered his shot. As you look at Roy Williams in his 5th year in Chapel Hill, brought the national title in 2005, the 4th North Carolina national championship. Taylor Rochester with a foul. It sends Wayne Ellington to the line, looking for his first point of the game. Carolina in white with a 6-4 lead early. Washington State scored the first basket. That's the first time, only time, Carolina's been behind in the tournament. They got off the big early leads and ran away in their first 2 games.
Wayne Ellington being guarded by Rochester, and a very difficult matchup for a very good defender in Taylor Rochester. And Wayne Ellington has done a spectacular job all season long, coming off screens, putting the ball on the deck. Just a great offensive player.
Danny Green in for Ellington. Alex Stevenson also makes his first appearance for North Carolina, while Caleb Forrest, number 52, is on the floor for Washington State. 4.5 minutes into the game here in Charlotte, the East region. The top 4 seeds have advanced. It's 8-4. North Carolina, the favored Tar Heels, who have not lost a game all year away from the Dean Dome. 20-0 away from the campus of North Carolina. Derek Lowe behind the back, and that's Forrest, has it knocked away for a moment. Baines banks it in. The big Aussie makes it 8-6. He has 4.
Boy, he is so strong, and when he's patient in the post, he has got good post moves and can finish oversized. And Alex Stevenson is a big player that can get up and block shots, but he had no effect on Aaron Baines.
Around the perimeter, and now Lawson with a drive, has to kick it back out.
A terrific job of moving his feet by Derek Lowe, trying to stay in front of Ty Lawson really quick.
10 on the clock. Hansbrough. There's that jump semi-hook, and he's short again. He's off to a slow start. Hansborough's 0 for 3.
And Baines has made him shoot over the top, and he's got the size to body him up and try to keep him away from the basket. But one thing with Tyler Hansbrough, you have got to make him shoot over without fouling.
Derek Lowe and a reach-in foul on Ginyard of North Carolina. His first.
See Aaron Baines a little bit earlier getting the ball in the post. Stevenson does a good job of pushing him off the lane, but with that great size, 270, 280 pounds, he's able to back him down a couple of steps and get an angle and then kiss it off the glass. He has really improved his offensive game from last year to this.
Looking for a tying basket. It's Weaver. It's tied at 8.
Anytime they inbound the ball, they like to look for that back door. They turn and come back.
Turnover, and Lowe picks it up for the Cougars. Excellent outside shooter, so is Rochester. Drive not there. Rebound to Stevenson of Carolina.
Washington State getting great penetration into the lane against North Carolina. The Tar Heels have to do a better job of guarding the ball.
Hansbrough looking for his first points. He travels to Couple of steps before getting the ball on the floor. That's the 4th Tar Heel turnover early.
Here you can see Washington State, anytime they turn back and dribble back, you are definitely going backdoor. You can see there's the backdoor cut by Kyle Weaver, and Danny Green loses sight of it. Alex Stevenson a little bit late getting there, and it's 2 points in the paint for Washington State. Great execution on the out-of-bounds under.
Baines out, Kyle Gill back in. So it's Kyle Gill, Forrest, Lowe, Weaver, and Rochester for Washington State.
Washington State has seized the tempo of this game. It is a half-court game right now. North Carolina getting it into the paint, but they're not getting anything right now in transition, and that is their game. That's where they're special, is in a full-court set.
Quentin Thomas on the floor for the first time for Carolina. Gives Ty Lawson a break, and Washington State, that's a 2, has the lead 10-8 at the 13-10 mark of this opening half. Weaver with a couple of buckets.
Kyle Weaver has really improved his offensive game over the last 5 games, averaging almost 18 points per game.
Yeah, Washington State start has captured the interest of these Carolina fans, and a steal and the basket. After Washington State had rebounded, Green's missed. He slipped in with a steal and converts. It's 10-all.
An alert play by Danny Green, one of the best 6 men in the country, if not the best.
Weaver, and the foul on Weaver, the charge. Hansbrough had position. First on Weaver.
Weaver brings the ball down, not paying attention, and really an alert play by Danny Green to reach in and knock that thing away, and then have the presence of mind to finish that play and get 2.
Hansbrough goes out without a point, as returning is Deon Thompson, number 21. Thomas to Stevenson. Thompson. Quentin Thomas. Ellington, brilliant outside shooter. He takes the 3. Not there. And Carolina, with all that height, got position on Washington State and a second chance.
Washington State forcing North Carolina into some challenged jump shots. They're shots that Carolina can make, but they're not really getting anything inside the paint after the first couple of minutes.
4 for 12, and Ellington can't hit, and the foul goes against Carolina. Just under 12 to go in the opening half. Washington State and Carolina tied at 10. All right, Greg, this David and Goliath matchup was the mighty North Carolina, the number 1 of the number 1 seeds, against the 4th seed Washington State Cougars, tied at 10 with 8 minutes gone.
North Carolina with some full court pressure, trying to speed up Washington State. There's a foul, but Carolina can try to speed up this game on the defensive end. They can't try to speed it up offensively by taking quick shots. That would play right into the hands of Washington State.
Quentin Thomas, with the crowd on the sidelines, picks up his first foul. 3 team fouls on North Carolina for Washington State.
Very difficult for Wayne Ellington right now, guarding Derek Lowe. Lowe is in constant motion, really changes speeds very effectively, goes from slow to fast to find openings.
Rochester on the run. That's his shot. The lefty, who played his freshman ball at Tulane, gives Washington State a 2-point lead.
Such a clever player and a much better athlete than he gets credit for. He can dunk off 2 feet with 2 hands with ease.
Danny Green. Hansbrough still on the bench for North Carolina. Green will try a 3 and connect.
The double team comes too slowly for Washington State. It allowed Thompson to turn and look. Without any pressure on him, he was able to pick the Washington State defense apart and find a wide open Danny Green without anybody rotating toward him.
Green leading all scorers with 5 early points off the bench. 13 to 12. Derek Lowe from long range. Thompson with the board. Quentin Thomas, the senior. Green to Thomas for 3. Scramble on the rebound, and Harmeling came up with it, and then the travel against Washington State. David Harmeling seeing his first duty.
North Carolina averaging over 110 points per game, while Washington State's defense is holding opponents to just over 40 points per game. And right now, North Carolina Their field goal percentage 64% the first couple. They're barely shooting 33% thus far. That's how good Washington State's defense is. This is not a fluke. An excellent defensive team.
Lawson back in the game to Green as we approach the midpoint of this first 20-minute period. Ellington sets up Thompson down low, and he's on the baseline. No, he's going to be called for an offensive foul. Now they're going to call it violation on the baseline, not a foul.
Washington State runs what Tony Bennett and his father refer to as the mover blocker offense. The big guys serve as screeners, and they try to get some offense off of the screens they set. But Rochester, Weaver, and right now Harmeling coming off those screens as scorers.
Cowgill and Harmeling, good outside shooters for bigger men. That's Weaver, and he travels on his move to the basket. So Carolina goes the other way, leading 13-12. 9:50 left in this opening half.
Most importantly, Washington State has the tempo in the game that they want. This has become a game of half-court execution. That is not what North Carolina wants and not what the Tar Heels are used to.
Green hits another. He has 7 to lead the Tar Heels to a 3-point advantage.
Right now, Danny Green has been carrying this offense. Tyler Hansbrough has yet to score in this game, has 3 turnovers.
Hansbrough back on the floor for North Carolina. Many of the Player of the Year awards yet to be announced, but Hansbrough has to be the heavy favorite to walk away with a lot of the hardware.
What a great play by Rochester to get through that double team.
Weaver can't hit. Here comes Lawson, and it's stolen by Rochester. Back to Weaver. Sets up Baines, and the big man has another 2. He leads the Cougars with 6.
You can feel a sense of frustration on the part of North Carolina right now. They tried to get out and run, turn the ball over, and anytime Weaver puts it on the deck, he is doing so to pass.
Ellington can't drop that 17-footer, and Harmeling with the rebound. 15-14. Washington State trails by 1 with 8.5 to go here in the opening 20.
That shot by Ellington was an example of Carolina trying to speed the game on the offensive end. They cannot do that.
Rochester unable to save his missed shot as he dives over the Carolina bench.
Taylor Rochester, a transfer from Tulane, just gives unbelievable effort on the floor. An outstanding athlete, left-hander that can really put the ball on the deck. He's got a great runner, a great floater, uses fakes, shot fakes. Just a terrific player.
And a generous young man, too. He's volunteered to give his senior scholarship $25,000. He'll play as a walk-on senior so that they can recruit another kid. Another turnover by North Carolina. Baines came up with a loose pass.
North Carolina not showing patience on the offensive end. They need to use pass fakes, ball fakes, get this defense to move.
Chesty from the line won't get it, and Hansbrough rips it down. Averaged a double-double on the season. Thompson banks it home. Deion Thompson gives Carolina a 3-point lead. He has 6.
Boy, as soon as Ty Lawson passed that ball ahead to a big guy on the wing, the first thing that comes into your mind is he may have been leading him into a turnover. What a great play by Deion Thompson.
North Carolina fans on their feet. They realize this isn't going to be as easy as many expected. They're taller, they're higher scoring, but this Washington State team has found ways to win all season long. Out of bounds to the Cougars when we return. 7:17 left in the opening half. North Carolina leading by 3. Washington State in maroon with the ball, trailing by 3, and a foul underneath against North Carolina. 7:12 to go in the first half, and the Tar Heels lead 17-14 coming up on AT&T at the half. Greg Gumbel and company take you out for a live look at that West action. West Virginia Xavier, and they'll get you caught up on all the latest tournament news plus an AT&T Naismith watch update. That's all coming up on AT&T at the half. Last foul on Deion Thompson is first. Each team with And Thompson pulls down his 5th rebound.
Probably could have gotten that all the way to the rim. Washington State has really out-executed North Carolina in the out-of-bounds under department.
Both teams at that timeout were 7 for 18 shooting. Lawson can't hit, no foul. Carolina fans didn't like that. Officials ruled that Lawson jumped into the defender.
Well, the defender was coming his way. I think he had the right to do that because the defender was not going straight up and down. He violated Lawson's space.
And that's going to be an offensive foul against Washington State. Nikola Koprivica in for the first time, the Serbian sophomore.
Nice step back dribble by Lawson, and that was clearly a foul. There's no question about it. The officials missed it, but they got the ball back with the foul on Koprivica.
So the offensive foul turns it over to North Carolina, leading by 3. Hansbrough looking for his first points, misses again. Baines with a rebound.
Aaron Baines has done a terrific job of staying in front of Tyler Hansbrough, using his size and making Hansbrough shoot over the top, not allowing him the body contact to go in and create a foul. Hansbrough shoots about 10 free throws per game on average and has yet to even sniff a foul.
Kyle Weaver off to Koprivica. Derek Lowe, top scorer for Washington State, has yet to net a point. And he throws this one away, the steal. Ellington sends it ahead. Pulling up is Ellington. He followed the play, rewarded for the steal. He gets the basket, and Carolina enjoys its biggest lead. Timeout, Washington State. 5:42 to go, opening half.
Washington State has the tempo it wants, but for the Cougars to win, their offense has to help their defense. They can't turn it over. Here on the drive, Derek Lowe turns it over. Now North Carolina has an advantage situation. 1, 2, 3 defenders. It's 5 on 3, and that is going to leave Wayne Ellington wide open as the trailer to get an easy basket. Those are the kind of easy baskets Washington State has been taking away from North Carolina, but 6 turnovers by the Cougars not helping the cause.
So they average only 10 turnovers a game, and they've committed 6 in this opening half. Only 1 turnover that first half of the surprising victory over Notre Dame last weekend.
North Carolina is a much better defensive team than I think the Tar Heels get credit for. While they may have been able to improve throughout the season with their defensive intensity, this is still one of the top 20 defenses in the country.
Deon Thompson picks up his 2nd foul. He'll shortly come out. Alex Stevenson at the scorer's table as Kyle Weaver sets to shoot, looking for his 5th point. He is a stat sheet stuffer as you see Stevenson enter the game. Weaver with 1,000 points, 500 rebounds. .400 assists, 175 steals, 75 blocks. They've gone back through the records. I think there's never been a Pac-10 player accomplish those kinds of numbers in all the categories.
Well, great versatility, long arms, and Baines doing a good job of trying to get up and keep Hansbrough from getting an easy basket. You might as well foul him, but Tyler Hansbrough has really been struggling in this game, trying to shoot over the top of Aaron Baines. He has yet to score in this game, but this move will give him an opportunity to get a couple of free throws. But Baines has done a really nice job of staying between Hansbrough and the basket and making him shoot over the top.
Baines picked up the foul on that last play, although he argued that he did get ball, but he also got body on body. And Hansbrough, who has been to the line more than any player in the country, misses both free throws. How about that? But then Weaver can't handle the rebound, and Hansbrough scampers to recover.
This is where North Carolina has to be patient. They can't try to force the tempo on the offensive end. That is a bad shot by Danny Green.
Weaver embraces that rebound, and with 5 minutes to go in the half, here come the Cougars down by only 4.
And when you can't get the pace you want, sometimes you get frustrated and you wind up taking quick shots. That plays right into the hands of Washington State because they don't have to guard as long, and then they can come down and make you play defense for 30 seconds.
Low with the finger roll. Baines gets the rebound, stolen by Green. Out ahead is Ellington, and he scores. There again, defensive turnover leads to the fast break. Those are the only breaks Carolina has been able to manufacture.
It's when Washington State has helped Carolina out by turning the ball over. A terrific steal by Danny Green. His 2nd of the ball game that has led to an easy basket, but Aaron Baines has got to be smarter. He was too far away from the basket to make a move. He was going to put himself at risk for turning it over, get it back out, and run some offense.
Interestingly, 15.5 minutes into the game, the two leading scorers for these teams yet to score a point. Derek Lowe with the ball now yet to score, and Hansbrough for Carolina. Well, 1 point for him. No, he hasn't scored either. Misses the 2 free throws.
And North Carolina really doing a good job defensively against Washington State.
Weaver, Cowgill batted it out to keep it alive for the Cougars. Rochester with the big boys gets it back and can't score. Green to Ellington.
How about that second effort by little Taylor Rochester inside, the lefty coming down with the rebound.
Hansbrough with that spin move, looks for help. Thomas to Green. He's been the hot hand. Danny Green off the bench. What a sixth man he is. Leads all scorers with 10.
Dangerous time in this game for Washington State. They have got to see the ball go through the net, or Carolina can move this lead out.
They haven't scored a field goal in 5 minutes. Derek Lowe. Now that'll give the Cougars a high. He's averaging 14 a game.
Well, he is so good at losing his defender, moving side to side, setting his feet very effectively and backing into that shot.
Green through the legs of Hansbrough, able to recover. Down to the 3-minute mark here, opening half. Number 1, Carolina in the lead. Ellington, long-range tray.
With the quick answer off that high screen. So difficult to maintain contact with Ellington, and all he needs is just a sliver of daylight to get that shot off.
And Lowe dribbles it off his foot, but credit that to Wayne Ellington's tough defense. Danny Green in double figures, the 6th man with 10, and Carolina leads by 9. Closing 2:42 of the opening half, and Carolina has built a 9-point lead, and that without Tyler Hansbrough, their All-America, scoring a single point. But Danny Green is filled in off the bench with 10. Here's Hansbrough.
Really, the difference has been the 8 points that North Carolina has scored off of 8 Washington State turnovers.
And again, Washington State protects the ball like no other on the West Coast, at least. 9-10 turnovers the average, and they've committed 8 here in the opening half. Bain's second foul, the big man who has been hawking Hansbrough.
Tyler Hansbrough has not scored in this ball game. A bagel for the National Player of the Year to go along with 3 turnovers, and really carrying the load for North Carolina has been Wayne Ellington and Danny Green, a combined 7 of 12 from the field, while Derek Lowe, Taylor Rochester, and Kyle Weaver have combined for 4 for 17 for Washington State.
Marcus Ginyard returns for the Carolina lineup as Ty Lawson, the sophomore from Clinton, Maryland, at the line. In the 2 games of this tournament, averaged 20 points, 72% from the floor, and 10 for 11 free throws prior to tonight. 11 assists, no turnovers. You just can't play any better than that.
An unbelievable stat line. He was struggling a little bit coming in to the NCAA tournament. Nowhere near as effective in the ACC tournament, but he is back to his old self, where he is arguably the most explosive point guard in America end-to-end.
Another second chance as Stevenson able to bat the ball on the missed free throw back out to his teammate. 6th offensive rebound now for the Tar Heels.
Hansbrough's getting doubled post to post on every occasion. He's got to make a quicker move, get that ball out.
Lawson trying to spin into the lane, and it's intercepted. Weaver knocked it away, and Lowe picks it off. 1:47 to go in the half. Well, the Cougars started 6 for 12, but they're 2 for 12 shooting since.
Still a good tempo for Washington State. If they can knock down a couple of shots, get a couple of stops, they're in decent shape here.
And Lowe able to trickle one home. Fans wanted to travel.
Such a smart player that makes such great reads. Now Will Graves into the ballgame. He is a shooter. You've got to cover him from deep range.
Graves, number 13, comes out to the top of the key. And the foul inside, and that'll be Cowgill trying to hold off Hansbrough in his second foul. Well, near the end of tonight's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. To honor them, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Chevy, an American revolution.
The more North Carolina looks inside, especially to Tyler Hansbrough, the more opportunities North Carolina will have to pick up fouls against Washington State. And the Cougars do not have great depth especially along the front line. The more fouls you can pick up on them, those are like body blows in a prize fight.
Hansbrough finally on the score sheet with his 719th career free throw made. He's attempted 927. He's been to the line more than anyone in North Carolina history, and he's a junior. First points for the three-time All-America Tyler Hansbrough.
North Carolina's defense thus far in the game has been terrific. They've forced 8 turnovers. They've been right there forcing difficult shots.
Weaver and the foul, I believe, on Ginyard. Now they're going to say Hansbrough picks up the foul, his first.
A little bit of a weak reach in there by Tyler Hansbrough. You've got to have some confidence in your help. Danny Green was coming over from the weak side. One of the things you can't do is bail out a driver. Kyle Weaver usually puts the ball on the floor in order to pass, and oftentimes is looking for Derek Lowe when he does.
Kyle Weaver from Beloit, Wisconsin. Hero back in 1969, hit a midcourt shot in the state championship that's still remembered around the state of Wisconsin. And it's unable to hit 1 out of 2, and it's a 29-21 game. Green again. He's been almost perfect. Danny Green with a dozen to lead all scores. 32-21.
North Carolina coming with the trap.
About 14 seconds difference in the clocks. Harmeling for 3. Not there. And Carolina will get the last shot. Shot clock is off.
Very intelligently played first half by North Carolina, especially on the defensive end.
And a timeout as North Carolina will work the final play of this opening half. Welcome back to Charlotte. They say it's impossible for an underdog to go the distance. Then again, they said it's impossible to get real Coke taste and 0 calories. Log on to mycokerewards.com. Get lots of great NCAA gear. North Carolina with the ball, final seconds, opening half, and their biggest lead of the game, 11. Low scoring, but North Carolina has shown that it's not just a offensive powerhouse. They can play defense with these Cougars as well. Lawson with 8, trying to get it to Hansbrough. Low bats it out of bounds with 6.5 seconds.
North Carolina wants to try to get a shot up with 4, maybe 3 on the clock to give them an opportunity to get a tip in, but not enough time for Washington State to take it the other way.
Green, who's been the star for Carolina this opening half. Lawson for 3. Oh my! A punctuation mark at the end of the half. Carolina builds its lead to 35-21 as sophomore Ty Lawson drills in a tray from the corner. Junior from North Babylon, New York, Manhasset on Long Island, takes a seat, but we'll see him back on the court, and when he comes on, Carolina seems to always gear up that offense. In white, the Tar Heels with the opportunity first here in the second half. Lawson will hit that 3 right at the buzzer to offer an exclamation point to a solid first half. Thompson on a travel, or no, that's going to be called dual possession. Arrow points to Washington State. Winner will play either the Cardinals or the Volunteers. They'll be meeting next. Number 3 Louisville, number 2 Tennessee. Interestingly, in the 100 years of basketball at Washington State, they've never played North Carolina, nor have they ever played a game in the state of North Carolina. They're hoping things will be more pleasant for this visit in this second half. They need to start scoring. They hit only 3 field goals the last 10 minutes of the opening half, and Lowe is way off the mark on the first attempt here in the second half.
Well, and off the quick miss, that's when North Carolina can run, and they really get the ball up court quickly with Ty Lawson healthy now. He is so fast end to end.
Lawson, Hansbrough, Ginyard. Ellington with the ball now, and Thompson, the starting 5, open the second half. And the steal by Rochester. Lawson to beat, and Lawson defends him and knocks it out of bounds. No, they're going to say last touch by Rochester. What a job by Ty Lawson defensively.
Well, you can see the great speed. Lawson just beating Rochester down the floor, getting in front of him and denying him that path to the basket. Just a great job by Ty Lawson in transition on the defensive end.
Weaver, Cowgill, Baines, Lowe, and Rochester on the floor, and there's the foul underneath as Baines goes up to pull down the rebound. Ginyard has his second.
You see North Carolina got off to a really difficult start. The second 5 minutes started to pick it up about the time Danny Green came into the ball game, and then the last 5 minutes turned it over a couple of times, but still 2 for 2 down the stretch. North Carolina much more efficient down the stretch than they started off the game. And in large measure, Dick, that was because of their defense. I thought North Carolina's defense in the first half was really the difference in that half.
Washington State did have a few open shots, just couldn't convert. Rochester in with the big fellas and able to get it back out to Cowgill. And his shot misses. Baines able to get it over Hansbrough. That doesn't happen very often. And how about that? Some of his own medicine goes to Tyler Hansbrough as Aaron Baines with an offensive rebound. Here's Hansbrough to answer. He gets it.
Well, the competitive streak in Tyler Hansbrough comes out. You know that he's going to run the floor and try to get position on Baines to try to answer that. Baines just pushed him down underneath, was able to grab that rebound over him, and then Hansbrough wasn't able to stop him going to the rim.
Rochester is short, and again the Cougars, they've got to make hay from outside. They've not been able to shoot the threes or the long jumpers. Hansbrough works the baseline. He scores. Muscle move by the All-America.
Probably should have been an and one because there was enough contact and Hansbrough got the angle. Probably should have gotten a foul call and a free throw.
Washington State has made only 4 of their last 18 field goal tries.
Ellington doing a nice job on Derek Lowe, right with him off screen.
Kyle Weaver, he misses. Ellington with a rebound. Low to beat. Ellington. Oh! Well, look at Ginyard. He was up, and Weaver able to battle him for the rebound. Washington State 1 for 7 on threes, 1 for 8 as Rochester misses that one.
Washington State trying to take every open opportunity, but they're not making North Carolina guard them.
And that's Rochester with a reach-in foul for Washington State, his second.
Aaron Baines with 8 points. This is after the offensive rebound, just backing Tyler Hansbrough down. Hansbrough powerless to stop him, and Hansbrough a really nice shot fake to just lift up Baines just a bit so he can go around him on the baseline side.
Highly competitive with his All-America status for 3 straight years. Goodness, if he decides to stay for a senior season at Chapel Hill, that's going to be a push-off on Ellington on the inbound pass, his first foul. Roy Williams said of Hansbrough, I said, give me a thumbnail. Say I'd never seen Tyler Hansbrough before. How would you describe him? He said, passionate, driven, vicious, focused, disciplined. He compared him to Heinrich and Collison, the kids he had at Kansas, that just no quit.
Well, if you'd never seen Hansbrough before, the first thing he would say was, welcome out of the cave.
What did Baines say? He's a croc. He's a crocodile.
Just what an Aussie would say, and you can't give Ellington wide open opportunities like that in transition. It is rare that he would miss a wide open shot.
And the foul underneath on North Carolina. It's the 3rd against Deion Thompson. So quickly Alex Stevenson comes off the bench to replace him.
You know, Ellington has become such a great player. Second team All Atlantic Coast Conference, has really improved his game. Known mostly as a shooter when he came out of high school. Now has a mid-range game, able to put the ball on the deck and get to the rim, and really a good finisher around the basket.
Cougars need to find someone with a warm hand, if not hot, because they've all been cold here in this run of 4 out of 21 shots since a good start early. Weaver, Hansbrough picks him up, and then Green knocks it away with 7 seconds. Low from way outside. Rebound, Stevenson. Yeah, he has a physical presence. Green, it's blocked by Weaver. Gets it back. Hansbrough takes it in. And Baines able to pull the rebound away from Hansbrough.
Boy, a ton of contact when Hansbrough went up, but not being called. And Hansbrough not at all afraid of contact. He'll continue to go right into Washington State. Washington State has faced big deficits before. When they played UCLA at Pauley Pavilion, they were getting drilled, but Derek Lowe and Rochestie started hitting shots down the stretch and got back in it. It was too little too late, but this is a team that can still heat up and make threes.
Lowe scores at one end. Hansbrough answers at the other. Baines looks up at the official from his backside as if to say, he knocked me over, and no whistle, probably the right call, as Baines was well under the basket.
North Carolina is so good at that, at getting the ball out of bounds quickly and getting it the other way after a score and answering right away. That's a deflating play.
Fans offer their response, this partisan crowd, to the foul called against Danny Green. It's his first, and with 14:41 left in the second half, Carolina continues to cruise. And North Carolina in white with a 16-point lead. 14.5 minutes to go in the second half as Washington State starts this half only 2 for 9. Just not have been able to hit from outside, and particularly Lowe and Rochestie. Here's Lowe. They're 4 for 18 combined, those two guards who normally are very productive outside the line. Aaron Baines able to hook one off the glass. He has 10 to lead the Cougars.
And a nice quick move by Baines. He was about to be double teamed but turned to the baseline side.
Ellington with a pass to Hansbrough, and they're going to call a foul against Washington State for running under the big center.
Baines just turns to the baseline side. Tyler Hansbrough coming from the middle. The nice little use of the glass. It's sort of a lost art in college basketball. Guys that can use the window.
Derek Lowe picked up the foul. Hansbrough can't hit. Hansbrough over the top, but no whistle, and out of bounds to Washington State.
You're not going to hold Tyler Hansbrough down for long. He's got such a high work rate. And one of the ways that he scores is by running the floor. Really gives great effort in running the court.
Roy Williams, after the 2 easy wins last week, gave his team Monday off. Everyone took the day off but Hansbrough. He was in the gym for 2.5 hours, 500 shots. He says he wears out my managers. He just can't get enough. He's always trying to be better. Weaver tries to weave his way free, but unsuccessfully. Hansbrough with a loose ball.
And turnovers have really hurt Washington State. This has been an outstanding defensive effort by North Carolina.
Hansbrough from 17, not able to score much deep inside. Season opener, and hits the jump. He has 9 points this half.
That's an area, Dick, where he has really improved his ability to hit a face-up jump shot, and that's what he was working on Monday. He is much more capable. What a block!
Big Alex Stevenson just says no to Weaver. Green the other way. Can't save. Derek Lowe, Hansbrough, and Ginyard are back. Weaver takes it in. Knocked away by Stevenson. Back to back. Blocks by this 6'9" sophomore from Los Angeles.
One of the great improvements that North Carolina has made is from the 4 spot. Stevenson from Los Angeles sending that back, and give great credit for this block to Marcus Ginyard for getting back, stopping the ball, and allowing Stevenson to recover to wipe that away. Both Deion Thompson and Alex Stevenson have really lifted their games up in the NCAA tournament. Both have been much more efficient, much more productive.
Derek Lowe from 3-point range, unsuccessful, and Deion Thompson with a rebound. Lawson streaks to the offensive end, gets it to Stevenson, who is fouled.
Tyler Hansbrough in the second half has been much more productive. We talked about his high work rate, getting the ball inside, going right into contact. An incredible knack for getting the ball up to the rim and getting it in. Again, going through contact, now in transition, hitting the face-up jumper. Hansbrough has 10 points, 7 rebounds. He's turned it over 3 times, all those coming in the first half. You're not going to hold him down for long.
Hansbrough now is just 1 point away from setting the Atlantic Coast Conference record for scoring by a junior. Dennis Scott at Georgia Tech about to be erased from that top line. Baines goes out. He picked up that last foul, so 3 on him. And Caleb Forrest, number 52, in for the Cougars.
And without Baines, it's a much more difficult matchup. Hansbrough out of the game, so you can give Baines a rest. Nobody else on this floor can really give Hansbrough the difficulty that Baines can. And one of the guys that's done a great job in this game has been Wayne Ellington. Defensively on Derek Lowe, he's been truly outstanding.
Caleb Forrest rims out. Ellington for Carolina. Lawson. Ellington. Oh, look at those white jerseys surrounding the rim, and get a second and a third chance now. And a whistle. Apparently Forrest hit in the back of the head and perhaps a touch of blood. Tim Higgins, the official, wants to make sure he's all right. 44-27. Carolina building its lead steadily, methodically, and Tony Bennett, the young coach for Washington State, trying to find a way offensively to rally here in the second half with 12 minutes to go.
North Carolina just displaying how much firepower they've got, not just on offense, but on defense as well. Their defense has been much maligned on the season. Many people opine that if North Carolina was going to be left out of San Antonio, it would be their defense that would keep them from getting there.
Stevenson, he scores +1. Well, he's put on quite a show the last couple of minutes. Stevenson, who was a starter as a freshman, 37 of 38 games, averaged almost 12 a game. He's been reduced to a reserve role. Hardly a reserve in this second half. All right, Greg. Alex Stevenson converts the three-point play, and Carolina enjoys its largest lead, 20 points over Washington State. Cougars with 11.5 to go have had trouble scoring, and Baines back in with 3 fouls, and Lawson able to get a piece of his wrist, and Ty Lawson has his first foul.
Washington State really struggling from the field, shooting only 30%, including 1 of 11 from 3, and their starting guards, it has really been a struggle. Taylor Rochester, Kyle Weaver, Derek Lowe, 6 of 28 for that trio. That is unlike them, and if Washington State is going to win a game of this magnitude against a great opponent like North Carolina, their guards have got to knock shots down. That has not been the case.
Baines with his 11th point to lead the Cougars. He's 5 for 6 from the floor, so they, without his scoring, they'd be 20% as a team. Meanwhile, Wayne Ellington drops in a nice 17-footer. He has 11 points in the game.
Ellington's shot preparation is so good. Sets his feet, goes straight up and down, and really has great rotation on that shot. Just a smooth performer on the offensive end.
Baines inside. He has 13 to lead all.
An outstanding job by Ty Lawson of getting the ball up and down the floor so quick, and Derek Lowe beats North Carolina off the dribble. But anytime that Ty Lawson has the ball in his hands, he can take it end to end in a hurry. You've got to pick him up, and the big guys have got to do a good job of getting back and helping out.
(51-32) Carolina's lead, as Robbie Cowgill returns for the Cougars. 26 wins this year. That matches their all-time best in school history, 26 a year ago. And to win back-to-back games in the tournament, that hasn't happened since 1941 for Washington State. 6th time they've made it to the tournament. For Carolina, they've been in the tournament 6 times since 2000.
Boy, it's really great to see Ty Lawson back healthy again. Since February 3rd, when he got that ankle injury against Florida State. And North Carolina was a different team without him. But you got to give a lot of credit to Quentin Thomas, the senior from Oakland, California, for stepping in, stabilizing this team. Ty Lawson came back to a better team, and there's his speed. Just getting down the floor, nobody stops the ball, and this is a frustrated Washington State defense right now because North Carolina running it right down their throats in transition.
That's like a hockey defenseman getting the puck behind the net and skating untouched to the other end to score. Ty Lawson, Green with 12, Ellington 11, Lawson with 12, Hansbrough 10 for Carolina. Back with our tournament summary in Charlotte. Of the top 3 seeds, only Georgetown and Duke, 2 seeds, have lost thus far. And the ACC, no one to the Final Four the last couple of years. And North Carolina represents their only chance this year, and a very good chance it is based on how they have dominated the opposition these first 3 games. Derek Lowe able to rattle in a 3 to cut Carolina's lead to 20.
Just constant motion. Derek Lowe, the senior from Honolulu, being guarded by Wayne Ellington for most of the game, and Ellington's done a really good job on it, but he goes slow to fast. And right now, Quentin Thomas guarding Taylor Rochester, and
nice pass, and Weaver can't hit. Oh, he's had a miserable time scoring. Baines can't, Weaver can't, Baines can't, and finally Ginyard for Carolina. Ellington. Danny Green blocked by Weaver. Watch out. And fortunately, Weaver found a spot where there were no obstructions and able to pull himself up before he took a terrible tumble into the band for Louisville.
Just a nice heads-up play by Kyle Weaver to block that shot in transition by Danny Green, one of the best defenders in the country, a perimeter shot blocker. Reminds you a little bit of Josh Howard that played at Wake Forest years ago with his ability to defend on the perimeter.
Green reminds us that the bench has been part of the story of this game. Carolina outscoring Washington State 16-0 with bench players. Green leading the way.
And Washington State, not a lot of depth, but North Carolina brings Green, who could start for just about anybody else. Truly an outstanding performer on both ends.
Hansbrough has it batted away by Baines. Out of bounds to Carolina with 4 on the shot clock.
And inbounding the ball will be Quentin Thomas, who I think has done a spectacular job this season, shown great poise and great leadership for this team.
Hansbrough catches and shoots and unable to connect.
When Ty Lawson went out, Quentin Thomas was the guy that stepped forward. He hadn't really done it before in his career. A senior, but came in and for the 9 games when he was out, averaged about 7 points per game, shot over 60%. Didn't turn the ball over, averaged over 5.5 assists. Just a great job by Thomas.
Finally, Kyle Weaver finds a path to the basket. He has 8 points.
What Washington State really needs to do is come up with some stops.
8 minutes to go here in Charlotte. First game. Louisville, Tennessee will battle for the Elite Eight as Danny Green. He got the Carolina Tar Heels going middle of the first half off the bench, and he continues here in the second half, leading all scorers with 15.
The last bench player for North Carolina to average in double figures on the season was Marvin Williams, who came off the bench for Roy Williams' national championship team in 2005, and perhaps a good omen for this team.
Cowgill misses the 3. Ellington breaks out as the white jerseys are on the run, and Ellington will be called for the charge. His second foul. 7:25 to go here in Charlotte. Danny Green making the scoring lights red as he has been. Okay. And here are the #1 seeds, North Carolina, playing up to that expected form. They've rolled through 2 opponents, and they have a sizable lead here with 7 minutes to go. Baines inside, and the foul's going to be on a push from Hansbrough.
Just great size and skill by Aaron Baines. And he's turned to that right shoulder a number of times in the post, this time turning to the left shoulder.
He's been the star for Washington State tonight with 13 points. 14 now from Cairns, Australia. 2 times the Queensland most valuable player there, actually born in New Zealand. 6'10" and 260.
He's so physical and does a really good job of sealing off in the post and can just back you in, and there are very few guys that can hold their position against Aaron Baines.
20-point Tar Heel advantage. Hansbrough over Baines. Baines made it tough for Hansbrough. And they're raking at Baines to try to steal it away, and a foul call. NCAA March Madness Central, powered by the first ever Pontiac G8, is your home for live look-ins and more. Check it out only on the CBS College Sports Network.
The crowd really getting into this about Tyler Hansbrough going right into Baines, doesn't get a foul call. That's a call that Hansbrough usually gets because he's able to draw that contact and finish a play. But Baines so big, he doesn't even move when that contact's made.
Well, I thought Baines got the foul, his fourth, as he was trying to protect the ball from the two Tar Heels. Went against Baines. He takes a seat as Lawson with a drive and Weaver with a block for Washington State. 19,092 here in Charlotte.
Terrific block from the back end by Kyle Weaver. Just a great defender with long arms, great timing.
Hansbrough over Cowgill, and Cowgill gets the foul. And wearing a path to the free throw line as he has in his 3 years with the Tar Heels is Tyler Hansbrough. Hansbrough averaging almost 23 points a game, over 10 rebounds a game, and about 10 free throw attempts a game, making over 8. He's from Poplar Bluff, Missouri, down there at the Gateland of the beautiful Ozarks, South Missouri.
His brother Ben played in this year's NCAA tournament with Mississippi State.
Tough little guard, isn't he?
Really good player. You got to be tough in that family, don't you?
Oh, I bet. Competitive with a capital C. Derek Lowe. Cowgill for the offensive rebound, denied by Hansbrough.
He just never gives up on a play and never takes a play off.
Hansbrough keeps going and scores. Just tremendous engine, as you saw Hansbrough's dad cheering in the stands. An orthopedic surgeon, Gene, a high jumper at the University of Missouri in his day, a 7'2" high jumper.
Now, most players would be content to bask in the glow of having blocked a shot on one end, but Hansbrough blocks this shot by Cowgill, and then he just jets out and is the first guy down court. And anytime he puts the ball on the deck to his right, he is going to try to spin back to the left, spins back into contact, but he can make contact and still finish a play. He didn't get the foul called, but he's able to finish the play. That's the kind of great strength and, more importantly, concentration that he brings.
Caleb Forrest has his first point, and now 2 as he was fouled from outside the line, as he has the 3 opportunities. Deion Thompson's 4th foul. He'll take a rest, and Alex Stevenson comes in for him.
Well, this Washington State program facing a big deficit here with just under 6 minutes to go, but Dick Bennett and his son Tony have really done a remarkable job of building this program into a national contender.
It was David Harmeling, rather, that got the 3 points on the free throws. Harmeling's first points of the game. Well, Dick Bennett, one of the great coaches in this game, coached at several places, rebuilt programs in Wisconsin, including the University of Wisconsin. He watches as Aaron Baines has fouled out, and then handed over the whistle to his son Tony. And Tony Bennett, in his 2nd year, regarded as one of the bright young minds in college basketball.
A coveted coach, and Tony having taken over for his father the last 2 years. 26 wins last year, 26 wins this year. Aaron Baines fouling out with 14 points, 8 rebounds. Really did a terrific job throughout the game of using his size, getting angles, really making Tyler Hansbrough frustrated to shoot over. But a lot of possessions, he's going to pick up a lot of fouls.
And Baines, the one bright spot in the Washington State offense, out for the rest of the game with his 5th foul. He was 6 for 8 from the floor, tossing in those 8 rebounds with his 14 points. Wayne Ellington.
Everything Wayne Ellington does is absolutely smooth. As you take a look at the Washington State bench, you have to certainly feel for the seniors, Derek Lowe and Kyle Weaver, who've put so much into rebuilding this program. Their theme last year was turnaround year, and they turned it around to the tune of 26 wins and an NCAA tournament berth. They wanted to take the next step this year, and got to the Sweet 16, but anytime you face the #1 seed and a team as explosive as North Carolina, it's going to more than test you.
Cowgill misses from the 2-point attempt. Hansbrough pulls in the rebound. He has 9 boards. Ellington with 13 points. Hansbrough against Cowgill, and the foul before the shot. Yes, so tough to stop Hansbrough. Check out the nominees, folks, for the Pontiac game-changing performance of the tournament at Pontiac.com/NCAA. You can also enter for a chance to win a Pontiac G8 and a trip for 8 to this year's Final Four in San Antonio. Hansbrough now 5 for 7. He's hit his last 5 free throws and has 15 points in the game.
Ooh, clever move by Hansbrough. The fake handoff, then turning the other way, faced a double team. North Carolina wants to continue to burn clock when they have the ball on the offensive end. Try to shorten this game up and get to the locker room.
Approaching 5 minutes to go here in the second half. Low to Weaver.
Washington State's going to have to start taking some risks. Take some open shots, especially some threes.
Weaver, listening to you, doesn't get the bounce. Well, these #1 seeds from Chapel Hill beat Mount St. Mary's by 39, Arkansas by 31, and enjoy a 24-point lead at the moment over the 4th seeds from Washington State.
Nice job defensively by Rochester to get in front of Lawson, stop that middle drive.
4.5 minutes left. This partisan Carolina crowd quite well satisfied with the performance of their beloved Tar Heels. And they've got Harmeling down on the floor, slow to get up as he took an elbow in the mouth.
Bodies were flying underneath that basket. Everybody pushing and shoving, and Kyle Weaver grabbed a terrific rebound. You see everybody pushing, but you missed Harmeling. See, taking a shot right there from Stevenson on that off arm. This is not a game for the timid.
Oh, that is for certain. There are some athletic bodies in that white uniform. And here's one of them, Ellington, coast to coast. Can't score, and Harmeling hustling, even with that belt in the face, to get the rebound. Weaver takes it inside, and the foul is going to be on Hansbrough.
And once again, Hansbrough laying his body on the line.
His 3rd foul as we go to Greg Gumbel in New York. All right, Greg, excitement out in Phoenix, and methodical and outstanding play from the #1 seeds, North Carolina. Many felt that Washington State, with their outstanding defense, the 2nd best in the country in terms of allowing points per game, and they've held Carolina to 65, but they just haven't been able to produce themselves against the Tar Heel defense. Down to the final seconds with Xavier leading by 2 against West Virginia as Kyle Weaver drops in the free throw for Washington State. He has 9, looks for double figures on this attempt, playing what appears to be his last game in the maroon and gray of Washington State. Starting unit except for Stevenson on the floor for North Carolina's. We're down to 3:35 to go. Lawson chewing up some clock. Hansbrough. Hansbrough from the side, and he gets the kind bounce. Tyler Hansbrough now with 17, 15 in the second half.
Well, you're not going to hold Tyler Hansbrough down. He's just too good of a player and has too high revving a motor. Well, you just can't say enough, Dick, about the job that this Washington State team has done all season long. They play a different and deliberate style, but they play it very effectively. And this is really a true team with the way they approach things both on and off the court.
Yeah, the individual parts, no way they can compare with Carolina man for man, but as a 5-man unit, Washington State has made some beautiful music this year. Carolina with a 67-42 lead over Washington State. 2:46 to go for Roy Williams' team. He took the Heels to the national title 3 years ago with May and McCants and Felt in that group. And in some ways, you can compare that big three with the big three of this team.
Well, I think this team compares very favorably to that team, especially when you consider that Marvin Williams came off the bench as a double-figure scorer for that 05 team. You take a look at Sean May there, the most outstanding player of the 2005 NCAA tournament. I think the one difference that you had between the teams would be the 4 position. The 05 team had Jawad Williams, a very versatile player that could step away, averaged about 13 points per game. North Carolina, until this NCAA tournament this season, had not gotten that kind of production out of their 4 spot with Deion Thompson and Alex Stevenson.
Stevenson goes out as Danny Green in. You saw Robbie Cowgill, the second Cougar to foul out, joining Aaron Baines on the bench. 18th point for Tyler Hansbrough.
A bittersweet ending for Robbie Cowgill this season. Did a magnificent job all year long. An outstanding defender. Made the Pac-10's all defensive team. It just wasn't enough against such an explosive North Carolina offense.
Derek Lowe, uncontested, able to lay it in for his 14th point.
And you have to think that Roy Williams is more pleased with the defensive effort of his team than the offense. I mean, he knows his offense is explosive. And I think he has had a lot of confidence in his defense, but to have his defense step forward and have this kind of effort where you hold Washington State to 30% from the field, he's got to be very, very pleased.
Hansbrough feeding it back out to Lawson. 8 on the shot clock. Approaching the 2-minute timeout. With 2 minutes to go in the game. 4 starters still on the floor for Carolina. Hansbrough forced to go for the long 3 and an easy rebound for Ginyard.
Another thing this game shows, Dick, I think, is the ability of North Carolina to win games in different ways. People have always talked about their ability to win a game when it's strictly a half-court game. And North Carolina's half-court execution against Washington State overall has been pretty good. They've run when they've had the opportunity, but mostly they've run off really good defense.
Getting that offensive rebound, able to chew on another 35-second clock. The Tar Heels. It'll be Louisville and Tennessee. What promises to be a contentious second game as Carolina about to book their spot in the Elite 8. Weaver with the rebound. Back to Weaver. And that's going to be a blocking call against North Carolina's Ellington. His 3rd. Down to the final 76 seconds here in Charlotte, with North Carolina protecting their #1 seed. And after outscoring Mount St. Mary's 108 points against Arkansas, 68 points tonight, well enough as they've held Washington State to only 44.
And given the amount of possessions that Washington State can reduce a game to, this 68 seems like over 100. And Hansbrough, after only 2 points in the first half, finishing with 18, nearly a double-double.
And our Chevrolet players of the game, Aaron Baines with 14 points and 8 rebounds. The big man for Washington State, and Hansbrough leaves with 18 points and 9 rebounds. Only 2 free throws in the first half. As Father Gene and all the Carolina fans here, lots of Carolina blue in Charlotte. It's only a 2-hour drive from the campus in Chapel Hill. And the good news for North Carolina fans is Ty Lawson seems to get better and better coming off that ankle injury that cost him a half a dozen games. Ginyard out, he gets a hand, and some of the reserves get an opportunity to play. You saw number 30 Jack Wooten, who's been kind of an inspirational humor in the locker room with his mustache. He's decided to grow one until they will go on and win a championship, he says. There's Wooten, a junior from Burlington, North Carolina. They're kidding him about congratulations, you made it through puberty.
Well, you better be careful. He might wash that off by accident.
He's not shaven until he helps raise the trophy in San Antonio, he says.
Is that like Bjorn Borg not shaving during Wimbledon fortnight?
Yeah, they kind of were hockey players until they win the Stanley Cup. Campbell, another reserve. Final minute here in Charlotte. Very impressive display of their total talent, starting and off the bench for North Carolina, and their bench scoring has really been part of the final outcome. Campbell from outside misses everything, and it's out of bounds to Washington State. So the number one of the number one seeds, North Carolina, advances here in Charlotte, and on Saturday in the final 8 we'll meet either Louisville or Tennessee. That game to follow here tonight in Charlotte. In many ways a workmanlike effort for an outstanding group of players from North Carolina,
especially on the defensive end. I think North Carolina won this game as much with their defense as their offense, and really adjusted well to a different style. And that's the mark of a champion, to be able to play and win games that are played in different styles and different speeds.
Chesty's had a tough night, and he feeds it off to Chris Henry, a reserve. Koprivica gets the rebound, sets up Chris Henry, the junior from Santa Ana, California. Mater Dei High School hits a 3, and that's it. As the final seconds tick away, North Carolina advances to the Elite 8, 68-47 over Washington State. That's a story in Charlotte. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.